Good evening, everyone. Welcome to FGM Ecast for your Thursday night. Running a couple of minutes late, but it doesn't matter. It's still practice here at Kansas. We're at Kansas City, Kansas. How lovely it is to be here. And I'm joined by none other than Carl Withy himself. How are you, Carl?
I'm good, thank you, Stuart. Yes, we are here in Kansas City. Well, just on the outskirts of Kansas City here in Kansas for the Kansas Speedway. Hopefully we do not cause a tornado tonight with these cars going around and round in circles, causing a big draft behind them.
Yes, absolutely. That's and with a little bit of steering input as well to go left.
Just a tad, yeah. Maybe a little dab of the brake here and there. Just a few little things just to get it working. It should be an interesting one tonight. This place does tend to bring out some pretty decent racing. Should be a mixture of people trying a few different lines as well, so that could be fun.
Yes, absolutely. Welcome back to our Facebook audience tonight as well, after the mishaps of yesterday evening, where suddenly during the stream, Facebook decided it didn't want to play anymore and booted us out, but we're back on Facebook as well, so welcome to all those, and to everyone in general, of course, not just favouring the Facebook audience. Got a couple on YouTube and Twitch as well, so welcome to everybody. Carl, probably about time, if you've got it there, as I do every night, just dump it on you to give us a little bit of an update on the championship standings, if you can.
Can do, absolutely. So we've had one drop round applied. So if you're new to oval racing and NASCAR racing, generally we have drop rounds. So in the Xfinity series this season, the 2 drop rounds will come in this race and the next race. And that will leave us with a 2-race shootout to the end for the championship. So the first drop round has been applied, which has changed the championship a little bit. So looking at the championship, Hamish Gallagher now leads the championship. Unsurprisingly, season 1 champion this year in the Xfinity cars. He's been having a fantastic season, really quite strong, and really been running through the field. But he's only got a 7-point lead over Matty Raymond. Matty Raymond has had a fantastic year, very strong. That win, of course, helping out, but a lot of top 10 finishes and top 5 finishes as well. Third place is Josh Mickelmore, 21 points behind. Fourth place is Gary Wellman, 36 points down. He's also in joint fourth with Stevie Williams. Brenton West is in 6th place, 37 points down. Foster is in 6th place, 37 down. 7th is Edward Foster, 44 off the lead. Dave Douglas sits in 8th, 51 off the lead. JCW in 9th, 52 off the lead. And Thomas Martin, 53 off the lead. A fantastic season for Thomas Martin in his debut.
Yeah, absolutely it is. And we've got a good service tonight as well. 31 here, a good, nice number. We don't want too many, we don't want too few, but 31 should be conducive to some good racing. And we've got a couple of new names as well, or maybe returning names, as usual. I'm not 100% across it, but Jay Brazier's back again this week, which is good to see. Steve Hoppett's back after a few weeks out as well. Steve, welcome back to the race. And Mike Schroeder in as well, so good to see him in the server.
Damon May, a new face to the series, so welcome to Damon May. So that's going to be an interesting one. I think, unfortunately, Mr. Hoppett won't be driving tonight, has just got himself a new VR system and just couldn't quite get it working at 100%, so just deciding that discretion was a better part of valor and decided not to race. Was in the practice session but decided to pull out just in case any issues occurred, didn't want to cause a big crash.
Well, fair enough, that can be the case. You run VR, so do I, so it certainly takes a little bit to sort out, but once it does, pretty good thing. Interesting to hear his feedback on switching to VR as well on oval track racing. We've got a minute 26 to go on the clock. If, again, it's the first time you've joined us here, we've got solo qualifying coming up after this, a 2-lap shootout for the drivers to give it their best at the moment during practice. Hamish Gallagher, top of the charts with Mickey Skurlock just behind him. He's enjoying this season, I think. He's just running up the front at the moment consistently inside that top 3, and Edward Foster back after a week or 2 away from the Xfinity series as well, so he will look forward to see what he can do tonight. In fact, I might have that wrong. I think it might be a week out, but anyway, he's currently sitting in 3rd with Jaden Russell in 4th, Josh Mickelmore in 5th. So before we get to qualifying, Carl will take us through a lap of the track as well. Once qualifying starts, we'll pick a driver to jump on board with for that one, and just get an idea of what the driver's going to be looking for here and how the track might perform across the evening. The race itself tonight, we have, as always, a fixed lap race. We're doing 98 laps here tonight at Kansas, so expected race time. Of course, things will slow down a little bit at the moment, running 31 seconds. So expected race time here is going to be around about an hour.
Yeah, that's it. Of course, they will slow down a little bit as that tyres start to wear a little bit. Of course, setting a few fast times out there at the moment with a little bit of help from the draft as well. So don't expect to see those times in qualifying. It will be a little bit slower. Hamish Gallagher currently sitting up the top with a 31.002, almost a 31 flat. Very good lap from Hamish Gallagher, but close up is Skurlock. So we'll see how this one goes. Of course, in qualifying, as you said, solo affair, so you don't have any teammates, anyone out there to help you with the draft. As we got a beautiful photo of Taylor Swift there. I wonder whose pitboard that could be.
I'll give you 2 guesses, Carl, just to be generous.
Michael Skurlock.
Michael Skurlock, unfortunately not.
Okay, Peter Wilkinson.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Pete.
Yeah,
Pete, We'll jump on board with the Mitch Motorsport number 13 for the lap around. Given that, g'day Gale, welcome to the stream. I was right, Ed has missed 2 races, but not in a row. I was onto something there. But you don't want to get it wrong when it comes to the Godfather, otherwise you can find yourself with a horse's head in your bed. So we'll jump.
I'll find a Ferrari head blocker in the bed.
Yes, absolutely.
There it goes, you know.
Yeah, a broken diff lock in your bed, something like that. So we'll jump on board with Gallagher here and just get up to speed, and then we will get you to talk us through a lap around Texas Cup.
Well, I mean, I'll talk about Texas, but probably better to talk about Kansas Speedway because that's where we're at the moment. So coming into turn 1 here, banking around about 17 to 20 degrees. Hamish is going to run the slightly high line this time round. He might be looking to go for a second lap and running that low line in the second lap, just getting up to speed here. A high line can be a little bit better for race pace, but sometimes qualifying you're going to want to run that low line. So the corners here progressively banked a little bit. You're going to get onto the tri-oval section now. You'll see the cars darting down, getting onto the flat of this section here, jumping across to the pit line and getting the first lap under his belt. Hamish Gallagher now taking a slight mid-line, so keeping up in that slightly higher line. Has to ease off a little bit on this lap. I think this is going to be a little bit slower here. We'll see how this one goes, because that is sounded like there was a little bit more of a lift than Hamish would have wanted, so he might just be on a little bit of a slower lap, and he does touch the wall, so Gallagher does not set a faster time. And that's not going to be fast enough to get him right up at the top of the field. So not the best lap for him. Troy Davison currently setting the fastest lap out there. Really good one of a 31.123. Very fast lap on solo qualifying mode.
Josh Micklemore's just about to jump out on track. In fact, he's already beat me to it as he gets partway through his first lap. And Higley's saying we all know it's Matty Ray with the bad blood. Absolutely. Welcome to the stream, Higley. Good to see you back in the chat. And we're just on board here with Josh Micklemore. So he's 3/4 of the way, or more than 3/4 of the way through his first flying lap. So we'll see where this puts him. And Andrew Dyson yet to run a lap. Matty Ray, speaking of which, yet to run a lap. That just puts Josh Micklemore there down in 21st, 31.51. We're looking to improve that the second time around. Mickey Skurlock back out on track. Scott Griffiths is just about to complete his second flying lap. He did not register a time first time around. Let's see if he can get through a clean lap this time. It looks like he hasn't. No, in fact, just as I say that, the time monitor updates, jumps up into P13 with a 31.33. Skurley just does a 31.32 to make my job nice and easy, as does Stephen Williams. So as Josh Micklemore jumps up to 6. So not sure if Josh will be happy with that. He probably would have preferred to start a little bit further up, but he certainly started a little bit further back in the field of late. So I'm sure he'll be pleased to be up near his teammates as well. So he'll be looking for a clean run tonight, Josh. He's had a bit of bad luck over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, definitely been having a little bit of bad luck recently, and the thing about luck is it can swing in different directions. Meanwhile, Mr. Michael Skurlock just sets a blistering time of a 31.117 and gets it up into P1. So Michael Skurlock up there at the moment. Just looking through the field if anybody else is going to jump out, and doesn't look like it at the moment.
Thomas Martin's just about to finish his second flying lap. He's currently in P18 with a 31.35. Crosses the start-finish line and just goes 1/100 slower. Luke Traher, can't I just make a bet that everyone will have a wonderful time? Absolutely, you can, Luke.
Bit of a risky bet. I mean, these are racing drivers. They're generally miserable folks. That if they have something go wrong, they don't have a good time. So yeah, that might be one that you lose.
There's some sort of play there, or maybe a My Little Pony or something like that we're not quite getting. But welcome to the stream, Luke. As always, off on his Wednesday evening, probably preparing for the Cup, which is on tomorrow night. So looking forward to that one. So qualifying here is just about to conclude. In fact, there it goes there. We took over 5 minutes and it is all done and dusted. So we're about to grid up here for round 10 of season 2, 2021 of the Thunder Series, ANZCAR Thunder Series on FGM eCast. And it is going to be a ripping race here tonight. Let's bring up the grid on the screen and have a look at what we've got. I don't know why it's deciding to say round 5 there, but we'll get that fixed immediately because it's clearly not correct. Michael Skurlock on front row with Troy Davison. Congratulations, Troy Davison, a front row there. I thought it might have been a Simpsons reference there. Luke, Ed Foster, Lachlan Oakwea off row 2 with Kate Donnelly and Joshua Carroll Walden off 3. Then it's Micklemore and Schultz off 4 with Wellman and West off 5. Ruben Phelps and Norm Clark off row 6 with Jaden Russell and Hamish Gallagher off 7. Stephen Williams, Scotty Griffiths off 8 with Matty Hunter and Thomas Martin off 9. Then it's Timmy Court with Tim Weston next to him off 10. Peter Wilkinson, Tristan Cock off 11 with Damon May and Jay Brazier off row 12. And as we get a little bit further back, Dave Douglas and Mick Taylor, followed by Andrew Dyson, Matty Ray. We've got Michael Schroeder, Brett Campbell, and then last but not least, Stevie Hoppett, who unfortunately will not take the grid.
Yeah, so packed field tonight as ever. A good qualifying there from Troy Davidson up there in P2, the 023. Troy Davidson been having a really good season, setting some really good laps and been gabbling it up there. Kay Donnelly as well having a good run. So Sim Boys are out in fours. Gary Wellman inside the top 10 as well. Brenton West continuing his good season, his good form in starting in P10 as well. Keep an eye on that car. So we will see what can be done. We'll see what kind of magic Skirley can pull out tonight. We'll see if he is absolutely dashing away at the front or if he will have one to forget.
Well, hopefully the former. He's been running really well of late. So
he has indeed. And, if you want to hear more about Skirlock, make sure to join us for the Cup tomorrow night because Skirlock is actually the guest tomorrow, having a bit of a chat with us. So get to hear a little bit about Skirley and a little bit of information about the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Michael Skirlock. And very good chat we had with him. So looking forward for that one to come out.
the rumour is that the interview goes for longer because she had to introduce all of his names.
Possibly, yes. I mean, it is. There is about 2 seconds of actual interview. The rest of it is introducing him by name. Pace car has come in. Skirley does not wait. He drops the hammer straight away. Gets a really, really good jump on the field there. They might just be out of reach of getting that little bit of draft. Foster is getting a nice run on the low line, though, managing to slide it up there. Look at Lachlan Oakwea there as well, getting a really good run on the low side. Oakwea trying to make it past Foster, can't quite make it happen as yet, but does make it past Davidson. They're side by side as they come up towards turns 3 and 4. Oakwea on the inside in the 42, trying to make the move on Troy Davidson in the 0-2-3. Foster gets a little bit tail happy on the exit of turn 4, but manages to keep it there. Few cars getting a little bit slippery on that section there. It does take a couple of laps to warm up these tyres. Remember, these NASCAR tyres are pretty much like rocks.
Yeah, absolutely. So they'll be waiting for them to warm up. It's a little bit overcast.
Big hit for Troy Davidson. He has had a big moment up into the wall and actually gone into the back of Oakwea, I think, who has had a bit of a moment himself in that turn 4. Both Oakwea and Troy Davidson up into the wall, and that's cost them dearly. Troy Davidson getting the worst out of that. A lot of damage to the front. That's disastrous for his start. Watch as Oakwea will drop down a bit of the field a little bit as well with that damage.
Yeah, 3 wide in the background there as well, so plenty of early shuffling going on. As Kate Donnelly looks to get down underneath Lachlan Urquio, get a change for the lead there. Aidan Schultz got a good run on Urquio as well in the Aussie Esports 52 entry. So he's just looking for a way through here as Aidan Schultz. You can see the damage on the back of Urquio. That's from that impact that Carl was just referencing just before. So that's going to impact on his race somewhat.
It's just one of those things that happens, unfortunately. Really unfortunate for Troy Davidson, because he had a very fast car tonight, but that damage to the front is really going to affect the 0-2-3. Just in the wrong place at the wrong time there.
As Aidan Schultz does the fastest lap of the race last time around, so certainly moving places in the Esports entry, looking to jump onto the back of Kate Donnelly now, who is in pursuit of Joshua Carroll Walden. Edward Foster looks to have broken away from these two and is chasing himself one Michael Skurlock, who had a ripping start. Looks like a couple of drivers missed the start a little bit too. So at the moment, Thomas Martin, however, is the highest jumper, up 4 places. In fact, Jaden Russell, my apologies, up 5 places now into P8.
Yeah, Jaden Russell having a really good start there and is currently battling it out, trying to catch up to Josh Micklemore, who's just making a move on Lockie, trying to get down underneath him. This is the sort of part where the race is going to start forming up on the high line. You're not going to want to run that low line too long, because that's going to start damaging the front tyres. You're going to start overheating them a little bit, as Aidan Schultz is trying to make a bit of a move here, a little bit further back on Cade Donnelly, and manages to get it done for the moment. They're going to go side by side, so close into the corner, just a frog's hair between them, but they manage to keep the cars separated, and that's going to give Cade Donnelly a better run out of the corner. You're going to get a better run off that top line, just because it just is a little bit easier on the rear tyres. So he's managed to get away with that one.
Yeah, it cost Schultz. You can even see Urquio closing up on the back of him. Josh Micklemore's starting to make some progress now as he gets down underneath Urquio in the 42. So Urquio just suffering for that damage. So Jaden Russell now has closed back up on the pack. Just there in the background is Hamish Gallagher, who is coming. He's trying to get underneath Gary Wellman. So few moves going on here, just jostling through for position. There is a gap in the field. It does jump back to this one here with Scotty Griffith, Tim Weston, and we've got Tim Cornt as well. You see the gap there to Matt Hunter, who's at the tail end of that lead pack, and then again we've got a break back to Cockmate and Douglas. So sort of getting into these little groups. We're about 9 laps into 98, so it's plenty of time to work together and potentially attach yourself back up to this front pack. But at the moment, still Michael Skurlock, who has stretched that lead again on Edward Foster. It was down under half a second. It's now out over half a second again. But these two have got a fair old gap ahead of Joshua Carroll Walden and the chasing pack.
Yeah, absolutely a big pack that's chasing. Oh, Hamish Gallagher gets a big slide coming off the tri-wheel, manages just to save it, but that's going to cost him a little bit of time there. Good save from Hamish, though. They actually got into contact with Gary Wellman, sorry. So Gallagher gets contact with Wellman, and that causes a big moment. Just about saves it, just coming off the tri-wheel section. So that was a big moment for Hamish. Managed to just save that. Meanwhile, there is a car that was having a little bit of a blink as well. I think it might have been Kate Donnelly.
It was Kate Donnelly, yeah. I was just going to mention that. Had a big disappear off the screen right in front of Aidan Schultz. That would have been a little concerning. So keep an eye on that as that develops. But Schultz now right up behind him. You can see it go past the camera. But he's got right up behind him there. He'll be looking to try and get a good run out of the corner. Or perhaps he was running that low line, Carl, for those first sort of 4 or 5 laps while he was making progress. Maybe he's just decided at this stage to check in behind Donnelly for a little bit, let the front tyres cool off, so he's got something to battle with before the rounder stops.
Yeah, that's it. You don't want to go pushing too hard, too fast, because you will burn up those tyres and then you can cause yourself a lot of problems. Sometimes it's good just to let them cool down a little bit, which is it's one of those things you forget that actually happens when you're racing at over 200, almost 300 kilometers per hour, that you can cool tyres off. Meanwhile, Kate Donnelly trying to make a bit of a move on JCW. Joshua Carroll-Walden at the moment 35 and 40, just about battling it out side by side as they come across the tri-oval. JCW just jumps down to the inside line just to block Kate Donnelly off a little bit on that tri-oval section there. They're keeping it tight at the moment. JCW just keeping a little bit of a tail rear gun Charlie at the moment for Foster, keeping at the back and just keeping the pack away from his teammate. Not pushing as hard, JCW at the moment, but he could be saving a little bit of tyre for later on in the stint, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see there he's doing a really good job just managing at the moment, and that's all he needs to do, 14 through 98. No one's really pressing him that hard at this point in time, so he can just run his own race. See Mickelme there just inquiring and continuing to inquire down on the low line with Aidan Schultz. It looks like at this stage he's going to get that move done. He's got to out-drag him here, and he just checks back in, so not able to get that move done. Gary Wellman in the background as well, just struggling. I did see him, I think, get up into the wall. And it also looks like Brenton West may be having connectivity issues too. He's blinking in the background. So getting good perspective here out of the free ride that we're getting on the back of JCW at the moment.
Yeah, it's a good little camera position, that one.
Let's see what's going on.
Yeah, it gives you a good little clue. Quite a few cars just making contact with the walls. Aidan Schultz actually just does that then. Quite a few cars just struggling on the exit of turn 2 and just really going up a bit high and just making contact with the wall. Gary Wellman, the next car to do that in turn number 3 this time. A lot of cars just struggling at the moment, just on that point for grip, and it is really not fun out there for them. Like Troy Davidson may have just had a disconnect, unfortunately, so that might be him out of the race. I think that was just all the damage that was caused. I think that's him just retiring the car, putting it behind the wall. So unfortunate for Troy Davidson, who had a really fast car tonight, but just did not have the luck.
Thanks for the follow, Gunya. Welcome to the stream. Okay, I was just checking in with Andrew Dyson. I don't know if he's suffering from the flu or he's something stuck under the pedal, but at the moment he's running all the way down in P26, which is an unusual place for us to be referring to Andrew Dyson.
Yeah, Dyson not having the run he would want. He did sort of start from the back of the pack, but not really carving his way through the field as he would want to at the moment. Dave Douglas is doing the job of that at the moment, up 10 positions. But Daiso just struggling a little bit for pace, I think. Just not quite got the car quite settled at the moment. Just seems to be struggling to get it right. Just getting past Peter Wilkinson there in the locked on entry, of course. If you can't catch all the races live, make sure to jump over to Locked On Lads and Locked On iRacing. Look them up on your favourite podcast provider, because they do give you all the different results from a multitude of series, especially ones that we cover. So really good place to catch a little bit of interesting stuff.
Absolutely indeed.
Okie dokie. Daiso had his COVID shot, so feeling a little bit unwell at the moment. So get well soon, Mr. Daiso. It can be a bit of a rough one.
Yeah, absolutely. So good to see him out there then if he is running under that, doing his bit. It's just good to see. So anyway, we're on board here with Dave Douglas. He's got Gary Wellman in his sights, and he's going to slingshot straight past him here. Good run out of the corner for Double D. He's going to move up. He's got that winning feeling, Carl, after Monday night.
Yeah, maybe a bit of a dark horse at the moment, Mr. Dave Douglas. Just looking up the pack a little bit, Aidan Schultz is currently a cork in the bottle. He has got a lot of fast cars behind him, and they are right on his tail. So Aidan Schultz just becoming a little bit of a cork in the bottle there, and just not really holding up the pack, but people just can't quite get past him at the moment. And doing a solid job of holding that position, but that has given Josh Mickelmore the chance and JCW to get away from this group and actually get a little bit further up. So speaking of horses, the brightly coloured horse is currently leading the pack. Of course, we've got a bit of a rainbow dash going on for Mr. Michael Scarlock in the 350, having a good run up the front and just keeping a nice bit of a gap from Foster. Foster managing to catch up to just under 3/4 of a second at the moment and just sitting there nicely. JCW, meanwhile, is starting to set some fast laps. So as I suspected earlier, JCW just having a little bit of a slower start to the race and now coming back with a little bit better tyres. So just easing into this race, starting a little bit slower from the start.
Yeah, and just running about it. The gap stayed pretty stable. JCW has closed up that little bit.
Oh, nice move by Jaden Russell there on Aiden Schultz. Catches Schultzy just a little bit napping and makes the move. Very well done from J. Russ.
Didn't even see Brenton West still just struggling with that flashing in the background, or with that disconnecting in the background, or whatever you want to call it, latency issues. But just struggling there with that.
Should hope he's not flashing. I mean,
well,
that could get us in trouble with the authorities.
Had to quickly correct myself. Think about these things, you just say stuff and then, you got to deal with it later. Maybe we need a delay, panic button. Anyway, we'll roll along regardless. But Jaden Russell, 8 spots up, so he's just casually moving his way through. Carl, any idea tonight on stop numbers?
Yes.
What are we looking at?
Oh, you want to know? Okay, I guess I could tell you. We're looking at around about 40 to 48 laps of fuel. So probably going to be a two-stopper. Two-stopper. Just had to do maths then for a second, and that's hard to do when the brain's in. So it could just be a very, very slight two-stopper. Meanwhile, Foster is making a move on Skirley up the front. The 53 and 350 are side by side as they go into turn number 1. Skirley on the high side, Foster on the inside. Foster has been saving those tyres a little bit, and this is his chance to use them on that low line. Very close on the exit there, side by side. Skirlock's going to get a better run down the straight on the top side, but Foster's going to have that inside line for the corner. Foster can't quite hold it there. He's just having to brake a little bit harder, and that's going to give Skirley the opportunity to get back in front of Foster right here. Foster can't quite make the move at the moment, but this battling is going to help out JCW, who's catching up to this pack.
Yeah, indeed. Just saying, just before when you were talking about that Brenton West did drop out temporarily. He's back in now. He's just doing it again there. So there's a couple of those issues still going on in the background as our race leaders continue to fight for this one.
Meanwhile, Hamish Gallagher's making a bit of a move on Aiden Schultz at the moment. We've got the Mitch Motorsport on the ANZCAR side by side with West on the tail as they sit. And Hamish Gallagher looking to get underneath in the 13. And he does make the move. Hamish Gallagher gets past Aiden Schultz. Well done there. Schultz trying to take a little bit of a bite back, though, gets a good draft off the corner, goes right to the bottom line. Hamish Gallagher tries to react, can't get down there in time, and that gives Schultz the position back. Very well done from Schultz. This is going to give Gallagher the chance for the run. Gallagher's going to get underneath him. Brenton West is going to get the opportunity as well. He's going to get the draft from Schultz. The 113 sitting behind the 13 gets a nice bit of draft there. Schultz has just lost 2 spots in a matter of half a lap there. Schultz just making the wrong move at the wrong time there. Very well done. Meanwhile, up the front, Foster has made the move on Skurlock, so the battles are going around. We've got some juicy stuff happening on track at the moment. Skirley just running up a little bit high and just had to lift off a little bit. Very close between Foster and Skurlock as Foster just came right up in front of him there. Really close racing at the front.
Yeah, absolutely. Couple of changes there. 30, coming up to 30 laps through. Got to know when to hold them, got to know when to fold them from Riley Curtis. Good evening, Riley. Absolutely you do. Famous couple of lines of a song there. There's 5, I think that's Chris, is that Kristen Cock, yeah. No, there's Brett Campbell there just getting up into the wall as our race leader goes through to put a lap on him.
the newest entry in Aussie. Of course, Brett Campbell, newish to our sim racing. Started back in May, so still learning the ropes a little bit, but not having a bad run out there. Just a lot to learn in the series, of course, and it's not an easy thing to just jump into straight away.
No.
And you're running the officials, and then all of a sudden you jump into an ANZCAR race, and then you find out just how slow you are.
Or fast, depending upon where you fit into it, of course. But speaking of, just patiently making his way through. This is a bit more what we're used to seeing from Matty Raitt. He's up 10 spots, and he started 28th to make that 11 spots, and now up into P17 as he just makes his way past Stephen Williams. So
Another driver to look for a big charge is Martin. We're used to saying Jason Martin, but it is Thomas Martin, the winner of the Daytona round for... Was it Daytona or was it... yes. Daytona. Thomas Martin, or was it Talladega? My brain is now questioning...
Talladega.
Yeah, Talladega. Okay.
Talladega.
That moment where your brain just goes, yep, which one was it? I know it was a super speedway, which one was it? But yeah, Thomas Martin really making a good push through the field, up 10 positions at the moment, up into P8, so having a really good run at the moment. Meanwhile, Daiso has just made a move on Matt Hunter and working his way up through the field as well, and now capable of producing some 5G signals. There's all just behind. We've got a big moment for Jay Brazier. Brazier just getting loose on the exit of turn number 2, manages to save the car, gets back on the track just up in front of Damon May, and those cars just getting so close. So yeah, lucky there. That was almost a big moment. Jay just managing to hold that car.
Could have ended up in a disaster as Urquhart and Matty Hunter into pit lane.
Yeah, they're coming in a tad earlier. They're going to try and slap some new tyres on and try for a little bit of the undercut now and just see if they can make an advantage of pace with those fresh tyres on board. Watch out for this one because they're going to try and actually use that to their advantage, and it could work out quite well for them if we remain green, of course. They're going to have to come in for another stop, as will everybody else if it remains green. So everybody will have to probably do about 2 stops. You might see somebody just squeaking it through and possibly just managing. They might be able to just claw it through for a 1 stop, but it would be very tight, I think. Yeah, it would be super tight to do that.
Yeah, well, certainly won't be able to do it if you're at the front.
And Steve Harpett just jumping through, just saying, just unable to get the clarity of the VR working with the glasses, unfortunately. A very tricky thing to get right, sadly. Luckily, a little bit of experience in optics has given me the chance to tinker with mine a little bit to make it working, but not everybody has that opportunity to tweak things in their own way. But I can say sometimes contact lenses are a good option, but just make sure you've got some good drops. Just to help keep the eyes nice and wet, so they don't get too dry, because they can get a little bit dry when you're wearing the VR.
Yeah, you may notice a downgrade in the clarity anyway, jumping from screens to VR, depending on what screens you had. So it is one of the downsides to it. So Foster's still out in front here, getting towards that pit window opening.
Yeah, Scullock doing a bit of the old hare tactic. He had a really good fast car early on, but is now slowing down a little bit, now struggling for speed. He's actually getting chased by Josh Micklemore at the moment. The Greyhound, the Pirate King, Mr. Micklemore, is absolutely chasing down the Welsh Nibbler, the Irish Irrigator, and the Prancing Pony. Oh, Scully just tags the wall a little bit. That's not going to help him out at all. That is not what you need. It makes a bit of a jackass out of yourself when you do that.
So Gals raises an interesting question here. We pronounce it Aussie Esports, suggesting maybe it's I guess Alzea, as in Zealand, or Our Z.
No. Aussie is the correct pronunciation from the team. So.
Right, there you go. So given that it's a hyphenation of whatever it is, of Oz and or Australia and New Zealand, obviously, but interesting. ANZCAR or Ausia.
No, I had that one from the team themselves. They were very nice and sent me through a little audio clip for pronunciation just to make sure I got that one right.
There you go. I've just followed your lead, so if it is wrong, and yep. Rolly Curtis just stirring the pot there, saying it's a very Aussie name for the Trans-Tasman team. And of course, you're not allowed to use Trans-Tasman. They found that out. But anyway, we move along from that, as there was some sort of massive uproar about an innocent mistake, as happens these days. Having a look at Ruben Phelps, who is just really fighting his way against Thomas Martin. So Martin now down on the inside. So this battle continue for. Behind them is Dave Douglas, now up 15 places, and just to let you know, Matty Raymond now matching that as well.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how this one goes. Currently, the leading car on fresh tyres is Lachlan Urquio in the ANZCAR Esports entry, of course, the Australia-New Zealand Combined Racing League. All these lots of abbreviations. They make our jobs nice and easy. But Lockie is setting some good times out there at the moment. Himself and Matt Hunter, some of the fastest cars on track. So as you would expect with those fresh tyres, they're going to make a good leap when everybody else comes into pit lane. But it's going to be a question of when do the leaders pit. They're getting into a critical time now. This is where fuel is going to be starting to run a little bit dry. They're going to be running on just the sniff of an oily rag soon. So they've got to be careful of that one.
Yeah, well, you said 40 to 41 was opening it up, and I mean, obviously, ideally, they'd love to make it to 49 if they can. I wonder if anyone will get there. Certainly, as we said, the leaders won't. Edward Foster, you'd expect he'll be stopping in the next lap or two, having run right up at the front the whole time, along with Michael Scurlock. Thought once Scurley started to struggle with tyres, he may have jumped in a bit earlier, but of course, you are always hoping that you can pit under a caution rather than a green period. So he is probably just hanging out for that at the moment. He's not losing too much time, but Josh Micklemore about 3 seconds. Hamish Gallagher, my apologies, about 3 seconds behind him.
We've got a caution.
Thomas Martin, there it is.
No, Thomas Martin actually did not have that caution.
Oh, it was Matty Hunter.
Tim Weston on his roof at the moment. Tim Weston and Matty Hunter in that one. Thomas Martin was actually just about to come in pit lane, saw that happening in his rearview mirror, and decided to bail out. Watch that. So Tim Weston actually got caught with Matty Hunter, and over he goes, gets flipped onto his roof, and that car has gone onto the roof, and that is that. It's gone into the National Reptile of Kansas position.
Interesting there as well. I think what we will see is that Matty Hunter grabbed the apron, and that ended up meaning that he got shot straight up into the wall there. We'll just jump back a little bit earlier than that.
It's actually Tim Weston's just come down a little bit too soon.
He has
and
too there. Just grabbed him. Yeah, just grabbed him there. So.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'd probably put that on Weston. Unfortunately, just a little bit unseen on Matty Hunter, who was just on those fresh tyres, as we said, and just caught Weston by surprise. Unfortunately, a few cars got caught up in that as well. Probably a good one to have a little bit of a look at from the boot, from the camera, is going to be Lachlan Urquio. He's going to get a great view of that one. Manages just to slide through there. He just tags the side of Brett Campbell, but just manages to save that one. Usually, Aidan Schultz manages to get out of that one relatively scot-free. Quite a bit of damage on that one, but there could have been much worse for Aidan Schultz. A few black cats getting not jumping in on him. Watch this from Lachlan Urquio, though. So close to catching up with that one. And then Aidan Schultz got very much underneath that car that was rolling.
But now you've done it. You've put the knockers on Aidan. So I'll be sure to let him know that if anything happens during the race.
Aiden, he did get caught up in it. Watch this, he does get caught up, but it could have been a lot worse. I think netcode saved him a little bit there, because that could have been much more damage. It doesn't look like there's too much damage on the engine, so he got relatively lucky with that incident.
Of course, we do have actual footage of you, Carl, putting Dave Douglas into the wall. So
yes,
from the commentary box, some sort of dark magic you have control of. So
oh, this is true. This is
very
true.
Careful. With great power comes great responsibility. So, but anyway, it has worked out well, as we've had everyone other than Scott Griffiths at this stage go through pit lane. I think Scotty Griffiths has missed his pit box because he has actually transited the lane, but he did not stop. So he's going to have to jump back into pit lane again as we see him do that now. And
not a bad thing to do, though, because sometimes it gives you that opportunity to just come in when there's a little bit less carnage going on in the pit lane. And Scotty Griffiths does have some damage on the car as well. He actually stayed out, so I think Scotty Griffiths just stayed out. He didn't come into pit lane that time round. He came in a little bit earlier, so he's already made a stop as well, Scotty Griffiths. So he's just coming in a little bit later, just to get that one fixed up as well. So
my timing screen says otherwise, Carl, but I will bow down to he that knows all.
Yeah, I went back and had a little bit of a look at the replay, so he did stay out. So yeah,
fair enough.
He did. So I didn't mention it there that poor Tim Weston was on his roof like some kind of reptile.
Yeah, I knew where this was going.
What's the national reptile of Kansas?
Well, a cricket.
Crickets are reptiles now.
No, they're insects. No, they're insects. I don't know, Carl. It's late on a Wednesday.
I gave a bit of a clue.
A reptile that sits on its back. I wouldn't have the faintest idea.
What gets stuck on its back?
A turtle.
Yes, it's the box turtle.
Right. Well, there you go. I think my first answer was probably better. But not really all that endearing. So anyway.
Well, funny enough, actually, speaking of crickets, there is a church in Kansas that basically is called the Cricket Church because there was a massive plague of crickets back in 18 something or other, and they ended up getting caught in the mortar and concrete, or the mortar that they were using to build the church, and effectively it has loads of dead crickets in it. So it's called the Cricket Church in Kansas. So yeah.
Oh, well, just another
We've kind of got something.
Another tantalising piece of information that nobody really ever needs to know. Anyway, that's what keeps it interesting here.
Useless information. I'm full of it.
On FGM eCast, your place for useless information. But no, we love it. That's good. Keep them coming. It is going to be Edward Foster and Joshua Carroll Walden, his teammate, up at the front. Right behind Foster, though, there's Two Mitch Motorsport entries, and we've got Mickey Skurlock up on the high line, all on fresh tyres, the whole field, in fact, on fresh products, with the exception of Damon May, who pitted a little bit earlier. We are going to go green. When will Foster drop the hammer? There he goes, and it's coordinated, if I've ever seen so, which is fantastic, and they're able to do it. So they get away together well at the front. Behind it, JCW is just going to be able to slot down into that position and help out his teammate. As you can see, Josh Mickelmore and Hamish Gallagher are going to try and run down on that low line on this restart. Mickey Skurlock stays high. Jaden Russell drops into the low line. Dave Douglas just slots up in behind Ruben Phelps on that high side. So just sorting themselves out on the restart here. It is Foster who's made a strong start now. Looks like Josh Mickelmore is going to get up. He does. Becomes the thorn between the two Natari Autosport entrants, Foster and Joshua Carroll Walden now. Gallagher looking to see if he can get under Joshua Carroll Walden. Not quite able to get it done there, so just slots back into space. They'll have to be careful here. If it remains green for the same period of time, we will go green until the end of the race. So who is thinking long term?
Of course, they can't. I don't think they could make it to the end of the race here, so that's going to be interesting to see.
Close.
It's going to be very touch and go. They might be crawling across the line like a thirsty lizard. but Micklemore is running that low line at the moment, running much faster. He's going to be damaging those tyres though. Foster is thinking about the long game here, just keeping that high line, just keeping those front tyres a little bit cooler, keeping them in a better condition, while while Micklemore is going to be running that low line and just eating up those front tyres a little bit more. Foster will just be using his rear tyres a little bit more than the fronts, so we'll see how this one goes. So up at the front you can see the battle is very much on between Natari and Mitch Motorsport. How many times have we said that this season? Of course, Natari new to the series, although the drivers very much are not. Mitch Motorsport almost stalwarts now, their third season in the series, of course, the team of Josh Micklemore, Jason Martin, Danny G, and now of course Hamish Gallagher. Always a very strong team there. Jaden Russell having a good run just in behind them as well. You can see Jaden Russell in the
28
Synergy, yeah, that's the one I was trying to think of. The white and yellow Synergy car just starting to creep his way up, just in behind Scully at the moment, but was looking down on that low line. And then the absolute pocket rocket that is Dave Douglas, just forcing his way through the field at the moment and pushing his way to the front.
He's had a good day on the couch. Double D. So just managing race. Doing what he needs to do to be in the right position at the end of this one. So Micklemore there, you can see him just ahead, just down on that low line. Just looking, see if he can find a way to jump on board with him. Past Foster at the moment. At this point in time, not a bad place to be, P2. To his teammate, a couple of spots back. So there's plenty to come here in this race as we're over halfway through now.
We're at the critical point, so if we get a caution now, we'll see that all the cars dive into pit lane to chuck that little bit of extra fuel in, because it will get them home from here. So if we get another caution, that will be that, and that will be towards the end of the race, of course. Some might stick it out and risk it because, of course, you do have limited sets of tyres here. So you've only got 4 sets of tyres, so they've already used up 1 set. So if you come in now, say, and swapped your tyres, you could be risking a little bit if we get another couple of cautions. So that's where strategy comes into play. Of course, ANZCAR is not so strict on the tyre rules. It's not super tight. 4 sets is plenty for a race of this length. But we have seen in the past that the tyre strategies can come into play in these races.
Yeah, and I remember early on in our ANZCAR Broadcasting Association, a race where we lost a number of cars due to tyres going flat. So even with the generous tyre set, sometimes it's not enough given the way the race plays out. So we shouldn't have any issue with that tonight, but it can happen.
Yeah, very much, especially on those short tracks, you can really push it hard, and sometimes you'll get drivers really pushing it to the limit. As drivers tend to do on tyres. If we look back at the Turkish Grand Prix, we saw Esteban Ocon basically finishing the race on canvas.
Did you say Kansas?
On Kansas and canvas.
That's how I'm going today. I've got to grab that sort of low-hanging fruit. Thomas Martin is just lost the position. There was a big hit with the wall there. I'm not sure who that was up in front. It might have been Jaden Russell, in fact.
Jaden Russell has actually dropped out, so he's had a big connection issue, I think. So he's gone up into the wall in front of Double D, and then he's actually disconnected. So I think he may have had a connection failure, unfortunately, for J. Russ after a really strong race tonight. The gods of connectivity did not play for him. As we see in this, it's the iRacing equivalent of an engine failure or a mechanical failure, of course, when the internet drops out.
There was a big bump into the wall there, so that was what we heard when we were just having a look back at the battle between Ruben Phelps and Thomas Martin. Brenton West doing a good job here. He's putting pressure on the back of the 199 of Double D, Dave Douglas. So we've got 3 little packs forming, and Joshua Cole-Warden just jogging on the spot at the moment, just behind his teammate. So Micklemore has closed that gap down on Foster at the front. It's now under 2/10. But again, not a bad place to just sit and hold for a little while. It's not really Mitch Motorsport style to run P2. They do enjoy running from the front and controlling the race. And with Hamish Gallagher coming up and potentially joining in this battle, that's a way that they can then do that. Of course, without strike partners with Jason Martin and Danny G not running tonight, so it's just the duo, but they're in a good spot fighting with the team, the Natari Autosport team as well. So not really sure which way to call how this is going to play out now, Carl. At the moment, there's a lot of strong drivers at the front of the pack.
I think JCW is going to get Josh Micklemore right here, because Micklemore has just burnt up those front tyres a little bit too much. With that pushing he was doing earlier on, he's starting to struggle a little bit for front grip, and that car is starting to get a little bit tight on the exit of the corners, and that's giving JCW the opportunity to get a little bit of a run here. JCW doesn't want to run too long on that low line, of course, but he's definitely a little bit more comfortable as it stands, got a little bit more speed. You can see a bit of a gap forming between Micklemore and Foster as well, so Micklemore just losing a little bit of pace right now. A little bit further back, Michael Skurlock just getting a little bit tight out, just making a bit of contact with turn 1, sorry, and that's giving Dave Douglas the opportunity to get through. Dave Douglas and Brenton West are going to slide down underneath him. Dave Douglas giving a nice bit of a cushion for Brenton West to sit on behind him at the moment and just hold on to the back of him as Dave Douglas just rides his way past Michael Skurlock.
20 positions gained. Andrew Dyson up 17 as well after that early comment, and just proving me wrong completely. And Matty Ray up 15 as our top 3 movers for the night so far.
Not huge surprises for big movers for those lot. I mean, you know, no. It's pretty common. Thomas Martin doing a great job with 9 positions gained at the moment as well. Very, very well done. Michael Schroeder, 13 positions gained as well down in P16, having a good race so far tonight. Mr. Michael Schroeder in that very nice MLA, very pretty seafoamy, greeny colour, seafoamy coloured board. Very, very nice colour anyway.
Sea foamy. Isn't sea foam white?
Hey, get sea foam green, I'm pretty sure. That's a colour.
Fair enough. Oh dear mate. Yes, well anyway, it is a striking livery nonetheless, and he's got Gary Wellman right behind him. Gary sort of dropped down a little bit tonight. He was running up the front about 8 positions higher than where he is now, so maybe just push a little hard.
No, got a big slap on the right front, which has been hurting him since the start of the race. Got a little bit of contact, and that's really hurt him out. So that car has got a bit of damage, and that's causing him to struggle a little bit. Cade Donnelly just up there and having a good run too. Yeah,
he's just being passed by Norm Clark. It looks like Clark not quite able to get that done. Looks like he will continue to battle away there. It's a turquoisey teal, Riley Curtis. Yeah, that's actually a turquoise. That's a good description for it. As Matty Ray is catching now on the back of Aidan Schultz. Andrew Dyson dropped a position to his teammate Stephen Williams, just up ahead.
It's blue enough to be turquoise though, so as I say, it's not quite blue enough, as I say. The discussion of colours will continue between me and Riley Curtis tonight.
Let us know in the chat, what colour actually is it? Is it a sea foamy? Is it a turquoisey teal? I mean, we've got M&M's on some of the streams, we've got Skittles on other streams. We do cover all the deep issues here. Gail Foster's on board with me, Carl. Seafoam is white.
Well, seafoam is white, but there is a colour called seafoam green, which is that colour. Just pedantics here.
Oh dear me, the topics we get onto in this stream.
As odd as it sounds, I know that from Tiffany, from the jewellery manufacturer Tiffany.
Right.
It's part of their colour collection. So,
well, if it happens at Tiffany's, then it must be true.
Yes, that's it. It's one of those little things of the day job that comes into play there. So,
Ocean Aqua has been thrown into the mix.
Ocean Aqua, I like that. I like Ocean Aqua. Yeah, like,
We need to get
I'm
the Dulux colour chart out and have a look at what they might call it. Anyway, we're here to cover the race, not so much here to cover the colour chart, so albeit it's very enjoyable.
Oh, Stuart, you take away all of our fun.
Oh, I'm not taking it away at all. I love it. It's great. It's my evening entertainment. Is this some of the conversations we have? Gail's on board with it. Ocean Aqua. I think that might be it. We've called it Ocean Aqua. That's the colour it is from now on. Something we can all get behind. Speaking of getting behind, Carol Walton still just, I'm going to say he's managing here. I think he could get past Josh. You just see the closing speed he's got, and he can just hold it through the corner. So
Remember last stint, that's what I've got to say for JCW. Yep. Oh, he gets a little bit tail happy there. That back end just steps out a little tiny bit for him on the exit of turn number 4. He manages to save it, but that's going to run a little bit of heat through that right rear, and that's going to hurt him a little bit running that high line as well. So JCW is going to be struggling a little bit. He's going to have a little bit too much temperature there.
We sort of put the mockers on him a little bit there, but I was liking where you were going with it in terms of how the Atari cars performed towards the second half of the original stint. They did come on strong. Of course, we saw Skirley leading the early part of the race, and then Foster basically just driving past him, and Skirley dropped down to around P4 before that caution came out. So, there is definitely management going on. Mick Moore gets down onto that low line again. You've mentioned a couple of times that will hurt the tyre. The Natari guys are in a good spot here. Gallagher's dropped off the back to a certain extent. He's 1.5 seconds off behind, but he's got Dave Douglas closing in on him with Brenton West. So there's plenty of good to like here about where we're at as we tick over to 25 to go. And Heigler's just chipped in with Cyan Blue.
That's a good call, actually. That's I'll go with that one.
There's plenty here. Like Douglas and West are managing as well. They haven't had to push too hard to make those positions up either. So, their tyre condition is going to be reasonably good. Particularly West has just managed to, as you called before, just ride that pocket behind Dave Douglas and make his way through.
Yeah, he's just sitting on that cushion at the moment and just getting a little bit of help from Dave Douglas to just keep pushing. So they're running well together at the moment, and they're not racing each other as well, which is helping them out an enormous amount. That's the thing. If they started racing each other, they'd start losing time hand over fist. Meanwhile, speaking of losing time, we've got a bit of a lame horse out there, and that's Mr. Michael Skurlock. He's dropped down from 1st to 7th, unfortunately. So that pony might need to be taken out round back of the paddock and possibly taken to the glue factory.
Yeah, wow, absolutely. I was just laughing there, a lame pony, but maybe some magic will happen. And,
you never know.
Flying back up.
They do say BMX bandits are magic, so we'll see how this one goes off.
We haven't covered much of Peter Wilkinson tonight. He's just been having a comfortable race, I would call it. He is always learning. We're all always learning, but he's still learning in the turny lefty as he puts on his stream. He's stayed out of trouble tonight and just still on the lead lap and having a nice clean run at it, which I think he'll enjoy just to get some time in the 268 locked on iRacing entry.
Stuart, just want you to jump up to Foster right now, and we're going to go a bit quiet. Just jump on the inboard with Edward Foster. So I think we've got some fuel saving going on. I think it's safe to say, as that clutch has been fully depressed on Foster, and he's keeping time ahead of Josh Micklemore still, despite that big fuel save that he's doing. So that is something to look on to, because Foster is now thinking about the fuel saving right here. So He is very much in fuel saving mode, same as JCW, who's just dropping back a little bit. JCW actually getting up into the wall and getting a little bit of damage, and that's let Hamish Gallagher get past as well. But I think JCW is also in fuel saving mode, but his rear tyres are have fallen off the cliff a little bit, so JCW struggling out there for pace. That rear of that car is definitely not happy, as Dave Douglas is going to make the move down on the inside. You can see there Dave just sliding into your view there, just right next to JCW, and there we go, as an SRM car is just mowing the lawn. Who was that on the low there? It's Mick Taylor, unfortunately, just giving the lawn a little bit of a mow, and luckily the green flag has stayed out.
It looks like Brenton West is trying to make the move on Dave Douglas as well. He's wanting to get out and lead in this pairing. So one of those things, the formula hasn't been broken. I'd be sticking behind Dave Douglas at the moment. It's working quite well. I'll make their way up onto the back of Hamish Gallagher now. They continue to catch. So the duo of Dave Douglas and Brenton West working well. Stick with it, guys.
Just jumping up to the front, Josh Micklemore is making the move for the lead right here. The 31 getting down the inside of Foster, and Foster is still on an epic fuel save at the moment, but keeping Josh Micklemore behind him, who is still running a little bit faster pace. So Foster is definitely thinking about the end of this race, trying to save it and see if he can actually get to the end on this tank, while Josh Micklemore, Hamish Gallagher, everybody else is pushing a lot harder. So
just wanting to have a listen there as well to see if Micklemore does any of the same. Obviously he's not going to save right now because he's in a battle for the lead, but this is going to potentially draw Foster into not saving fuel as well, and mean that he might have to make a splash and dash at the end. So
I think Foster, he's still clutching through the corners and he's still carrying the speed. That's the thing about Foster at the moment. And now he's going to slide in behind Josh Micklemore, and that's going to give him a little bit of draft. But he's not thinking about this race right here.
He called it as we're on board with him. He was clutching the whole way around then.
Yeah, so he's able to carry that speed through there despite clutching, and he's very much thinking that he's going to make it to the end on this fuel and nobody else will. Of course, a caution will absolutely throw a avian amongst the felines, and that will really cause a bit of havoc for him, so he's going to hope that no cautions come out. So yeah, we'll see how this one pans out. Meanwhile, Brenton West has managed to get in front of Double D. So, he does, and he gets up into the wall. Double D's just going to slide straight back past him. Brenton West managed to get up in front and get on top of Dave Douglas, but now he's falling right back behind him.
It's interesting that you say that, Carl, as well. I mean, if a caution comes out, there's every chance that Foster will stay out. That might buy him those 3 laps or so behind the pace car. Might buy him the time.
The thing is, it's tyre wear. He needs to pit for tyres, because otherwise he'll just drop down the field like a star. So yeah, he'll have to come in. But Foster's just hoping for a complete race to the green right here. I don't think anybody else is thinking about making it on fuel at the moment. Everybody else is running much faster because they're like, no, there's no way you can fuel save enough to make it to the end. And Foster is very much thinking, well, I reckon I can do it. I reckon I can just creep it through here, because these guys are going to have to stop, and that's going to be 40 seconds. They're going to drop behind him, and they're going to have to make up that 40 seconds. And if they stop, we've only got 12 laps remaining. That's a big old amount of places to gain in that time. So we're getting to that critical point now. We're 40 laps into this stint. So we're getting to a point now where fuel is going to be getting a little bit critical, and they're going to have to really think about it.
And yes, Gail, to answer your question, Micklemore pit on the same lap, so they've all got the same level of fuel. So we're on board now with Hamish Gallagher just to see if he's clutching, and no, he is not. Foster is doing the same thing still, running that clutch in, so definitely not fuel saving is Hamish Gallagher. You can hear if Josh Micklemore's doing it. Not at all. So you can hear the difference there, coasting for Foster. Just getting back into it now, and off he he goes. Micklemore wants to flag wave right now. Which it doesn't work that way. But we can all wish as West has made his way back past Dave Douglas. So pronounced is the change there. I could actually hear Foster clutching in, even though we weren't riding with him on board as he went into the corner. So he is definitely doing it. Down on the inside here is Tristan Cock, who is a lap down. But he a lap or two down. But he's on fresher product, having pit on lap 80.
Foster has been doing this since pretty much the start of this stint. So Foster has been fuel saving for an awful long time, and he's able to keep the speed going as well. So he's just been absolutely mastering this. The first couple of laps where he did it, he actually made contact with the wall, and you can see there's a little bit of damage on the right front of that car. Just because he got caught out a little bit. When you put the clutch in, of course, it effectively makes the car run a little bit loose. Get a little bit tight, sorry. And it changes the way it performs around the corner, of course, because you haven't got the diff working, you haven't got the power going through the tyres, and it causes the car to tighten up, and then you have to sort of work harder to turn the car, so it can be a little bit of a tricky thing to go. So it makes driving a little bit difficult sometimes. Yep. And when you first do it, it's very easy to make a little mistake, and that's what happened to Foster. You can see he's actually keeping pace with Micklemore and Gallagher, who are still fuel saving a little bit, but I think they put a little bit too, they've put a little bit too much speed in their car, and they're struggling a little bit. Foster now getting down underneath them, because they've seen what Foster's doing, and they're trying to desperately save fuel now, and they haven't got the fuel that Foster has. Foster's probably got a litre or two more fuel than those two, and he's able to just push it a little bit harder now. So this is going to be a fantastic finish to the race. We just got to hope that we don't see that horrible yellow thing appear.
Yeah, absolutely. I want this to play out. I want to see how it's going to work throughout the field. 4 wide.
Let's go. We are 3 wide. It is 3 wide here at Kansas. Micklemore in the middle at the moment. Tristan Cock just there, a lap down, but trying to get that lap back desperately. Cock has come in on fresh tyres, so he has got some seriously good pace. He wants to try and get past these leaders just in case a caution does fly. But he doesn't want to get involved in an incident, of course. So he's trying to weave his way through the leaders, but the leaders are racing very hard. And you can see Foster has now got the pace over Micklemore. What I'd imagine is going to happen is one of those Mitch cars is going to have to turn in, effectively become the breaker car, a bit like Sterling Moss used to do at Le Mans, become the car that is going to run out of fuel, is going to have to stop again, just to try and make Foster race them, to try and make Foster break his car effectively or run out of fuel. So one of those cars is going to have to become the heir to Foster's Greyhound and try and get him to chase him. So to make Foster use up a little bit more fuel so one of them can get the victory, because otherwise both of them are going to have to come into pit lane, and that's going to cost him dearly.
I think Foster will be aware to that, though. I don't think he'll fall for that trap. He'll be knowing that in any moment that they're going to have to pop into pit lane, and he'll be able to stay out. He's probably also counselled Josh Ricard-Walden around the same thing, albeit JCW's got a little bit of damage on the 35. So you'd figure he'll say it's going to come to you, provided we stay green. This will come back to us, and it's going to be in the last couple of laps. So it's a big strategy call. You could hear we were just riding on board with Hamish Gallagher there. He's not fuel saving whatsoever. The only thing that'll probably be concerning Ed is the 550. He'll be wanting that to disappear pretty quickly just to get it out of the way towards the end of the race.
Yeah, Brendan West having a good run out there. Good to see Mitchell, unfortunately not out on track, putting an engine into a Mustang. Not always a fun thing to do. But Brendan West, a little bit of connectivity issue early on in the stint, but mudding much better now, up into 4th place. And again, another top 5 position for Brendan West. He has basically been top 5 all year long. It's very hard to dislodge him from those positions. A win must be surely coming for him soon.
You did call out earlier on in the, it would have been early last month that you said that you thought that Brenton might be on his way for a breakthrough, and he continues to knock on the door. He is rapidly catching Josh Micklemore as well, so if fuel remains for him, which is the challenge, he will be on for a podium, you would think.
Remember, he spent a good long part of that stint sitting right on Dave Douglas's rear. So he was just tucked in behind Dave Douglas and just using that to help with a little bit of draft. That could have given him enough fuel to make it to the end.
So we do have 3 to go. It'll be 2, obviously, as mathematics has it, as Gallagher goes across the line. So it's going to be this lap or the next. If there's going to be a cough, we might have built this up into something completely different that it might not be, but you wouldn't think that Foster would be saving that much fuel if he thought it was easy to the end. So,
no, it's going to be very close here. The white flag will be flying shortly. Will we see Gallagher play this out perfectly? Of course, Gallagher was sat in behind his teammate. He was sat behind a couple of cars. He could have just been taking advantage of that draft right there. This is going to be interesting to see who called it right, who got this strategy spot on. We are on the last lap right now. Will it be Gallagher? Will it be Foster? Keep an eye on those cars because Foster is slightly catching. But Gallagher is on full charge mode. Who is it going to be? Will it be the 13 or the 53? It's going to get close here as they're coming through to the final set of corners right now. Looks like Gallagher has judged this one to perfection as he's about to cross the line and take another win in the Xfinity Series. Foster finishes second. Josh Micklemore just manages third position. Brenton West almost pipping him at the post.
Does get across the line though in P3. Well, there you go. There's going to be a dribble left in both of those cars at the end of this one, but a well-run race. No surprises at all from the Mitch Motorsport guys and from Edward Foster as well, as Gallagher takes out another win. Of course, the defending champion of this series. So he'll be very, very pleased to get a W next to his name tonight and pen up another victory for Mitch Motorsport.
Yeah, only a second win this season in the Xfinity Series for Hamish Gallagher, so good result for him. Really good job there, but yeah, well, fantastic race. Again, a little bit of fuel saving at the end, but that was a close one for sure, and Hamish has absolutely timed that to perfection because he's got a bit of fuel left in there to even manage a few donuts.
Does indeed, and yeah, Trev, the 31 finished as well, so a good run across the team there, but definitely having to save a little bit, we think, to make sure they got across the line. So let's have a quick run through the results before we jump in with our race podium. Hamish Gallagher, Edward Foster and Josh Micklemore, your top 3 runners tonight, with a great performance from Brenton West, up 6 positions. Dave Douglas up into P5, 20 position gains for him. Ruben Phelps, followed by Stevie Dubb, Joshua Carroll Walden and Michael Skurlock. Rounding out the top 10 was Matty Raymond, up 18 positions. And it was Thomas Martin with a good, strong race, 7 positions gained into P11. Andrew Dyson up 15 into P12. Then Norm Clark, Kay Donnelly, Gary Wellman, Tim Cornt, followed by Mike Schroeder, Aidan Schultz, Peter Wilkinson finishing inside the top 20. That's a good result. And Scotty Griffiths rounding out the top 20 finishes for tonight.
A good run for Tim Corn as well, new to Oval Racing Course, member of Locked On as well, Timmy Buckets. So good result for Locked On, 2 cars inside the top 20. That's not a bad result at all. Of course, big gainer of the race, Mr. Dave Douglas, 20 positions gained. Next up was Matty Raymond in P10, 18 spots gained, and Andrew Dyson, 15 spots gained. Good result for Dyso from obviously feeling a little bit rough after the jab, but 13 positions gained for the 13 car as well. So that's got to be fate, really, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. As we're joined by our podium, Carl, take it away.
So we will start off with the man I've been calling the Pirate King, Mr. Josh Micklemore. Hopefully got use of both eyes again now, but I like to just imagine you're racing around in an eye patch these days, mate. Congratulations on P3. It's good to have you back up here in the booth.
Yeah, finally back in the bloody top 5. It's been a few weeks. Yeah, interesting race. Good fun, though.
Very, very close there at the end. Brendan West almost pipped you at the post. There was barely a V's wing in that one.
Yeah, the first run I was running down the bottom and it was killer. Tyre wear was pretty good for me, and was sort of keeping in touch with the guys in front, if not reeling me a little bit. But I don't know if it was run on the top there when I was racing Edward or whatever, if that burned him up a bit more. Definitely in practice it wasn't good in the top, so whether that's done my tyre wear on that run. I'm not sure, but it was good fun racing with Ed and JCW and Hamish as well up the front.
Yeah, it looks like a really good battle between all of you guys. Obviously, it looked a little bit fuel savoury towards the end there as well. Did you just have to ease off a little bit on those last few laps because you were running a little bit low on the old fuel numbers?
No, I had enough fuel, I think. But yeah, it's just my right side tyres had it from running that top line, I think.
The old tyre wear issue. Not a fun thing to have happen, but as you said, you're back up here in the booth. Seems the curse has been broken finally. It's good to have you back up here. As you said, it's been a rough couple of weeks, but look, a P3 is never a bad position to be in.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, that's what we're aiming for. It's a bit, if we can't get the win, hopefully our teammate get it, and we String got that as well. So, yeah, very happy with that. So, good to be back up here.
Congratulations, and congratulations on getting both cars up in the top 3 as well. I mean, it's a bit of a Mitch specialty to do that kind of thing. Hopefully we can get you back up here in the booth tomorrow night, but for tonight, the usual thing of shout out and love to sponsors.
Yes, you boys for putting on the stream, and ANZCAR, and Bob King for all the work he does for us behind the scenes as well.
Thank you so much, Mr. Micklemore. Congratulations on the P3, and I'm sure we'll catch you again soon.
Cheers, mate.
Next up, we head to the Atari driver, Mr. Edward Foster. Congratulations on that P2 there. We heard you were using the clutch a little bit through that race.
Yeah. Once again, I'm out the front pretty easily. Good battle with Josh, though. Like, we're running pretty hard there, but certainly the first stint, everything was going great, and had a line figured out that was working for me. I mean, I tried the bottom a couple of times and sort of found the opposite to Josh. I just didn't find any speed down there. So, but, sitting there in the lead, and caution comes out at the perfect time to turn it into a fuel saver and lose another one on fuel. So, I'm a bit annoyed about that, to be honest. I thought we had it.
Yeah, look, with the amount of clutching I heard you doing, I was thinking maybe you were looking possibly good towards the end, because it sounded like it might be a bit of a fuel save for everybody else. But it seems like the little bit of sitting behind another car helped out a lot for fuel saving. Do you think that was the thing that really caught you out there?
No, I don't think it was so much sitting behind another car. I think it was the fact that, like, obviously running around the top using a lot more throttle than running at the bottom, and you're going a longer distance as well. So the line that Josh and I'm not sure what Hamish was doing because I only saw him towards the end, but certainly the line that Josh was doing would have used less fuel than the line that I was running. And of course, then I sort of found myself in a position of having a clutch at the once I realised that I wasn't going to make it the way things were going. And, unfortunately, that whittled away a great lead and allowed Hamish to sort of pip us at the post. But, I mean, it was still fun. Like, it was good to be racing with those guys, especially when we were all kind of running the corners together. I mean, I was definitely on the clutch, and I think the other guys may have been as well. It sounded pretty quiet up there. And run along 3 wide and all the rest of it. Yeah, that was really good fun. Battle at the start with Skirley was fun. Just a little bit gutted with the final result. I thought I had it, but never mind. Congrats to Hamish anyway, because he did the job. Yeah,
just got away from you just that tiny bit, but still a very strong finish tonight. And look, as usual with yourself, a strong run, but just missing out by that tiny bit, obviously, it's never a fun feeling. But congratulations again on that P2. The usual thing of shout out and love to sponsors and people in general.
Yeah, just shout out to both Hamish and Josh. It was an awesome battle there at the end. As I said, it's always good racing with those guys. It's going to, you can trust them. It's good to be able to run alongside guys you can trust. Same with Skirley at the start. So that was all really cool. Of course, the sponsors, Bridgestone Select, Race Magazine, Two Fat Blokes, Ferguson Group Meet. We've got all over this one. So, thanks to them as well, and yourselves for the broadcast. And, that's about it.
Thank you so much, Edward Foster and Atari. Congratulations to both shortly.
Thanks, mate.
Next up, we head to the number 13. 13 positions gained in this race as well. It's almost like it was fated to be. Hamish Gallagher clicked your heels 3 times and you made it to the victory lane here at Kansas.
Where do you come up with stuff, Carl? It was a weird race for me. Like, I screwed up my quali, hit the wall, got a 0x, so put myself behind the 8 ball. Starting in the mid pack and slowly working my way up through there. Then we got alongside one of the Sim Boys cars and they just slammed into me and honestly thought my race was over at that point. I had a huge amount of right front damage and I was slow, but on the long run there, I was able to slowly reel people in, and then that caution sort of helped me out. And honestly, surprised to hear people were talking about fuel. Like we were never thinking about fuel. I had about 5 laps in the bag there. So that kind of explains things. He slowed down all of a sudden, then he sped up again. I was a bit confused what was going on there, but obviously that explains it. But surprised to get the win, but I'm happy to take it.
Yeah, that low line seemed to be a magic one for the fuel saving there. Really helped out an awful lot. Just looking through the field, it very much seemed to help out. As you talked about that little incident you had early on in the race, it was a super save by yourself. It looked like it was going to be a disaster, but somehow you managed to keep that car going in a straight line.
Yeah, I have to go back and watch the replay, see what happened there, but I felt like I was, having plenty of room, but wasn't quite enough room apparently. But it was interesting to see how certain people would race you. Big shout out to Brenton West. He was a very smart driver tonight. He's the end of that first run there. I was slow on the worn tyre, especially having the race through the field, and he would just sit on my bumper and he was playing it smart, wasn't doing anything stupid. So and it shows in his result. Get P4. That's what you are. You race smart, you race clean, you get a result. So well done to Brenton.
No, look, really good run from yourself. Obviously, the drop rounds are coming into effect right now, and the drop rounds have helped you out a little bit because you're currently leading the championship now. So you're looking to take it back to back this season. Do you think that's a possibility?
You'd be very familiar with why I need the drop rounds, Carly? But no, obviously Edward, he's missed a couple of races, but he get those back, and so it's going to be pretty tight, I imagine, between us three and Matty Ray as well. He's obviously had a very consistent season, and it's paid off for him as well. So it should be good fun now going to these final 2 races.
Yeah, and only your second win this season in the Xfinity Cup Series. Obviously, a lot of competition this season.
Yeah, no, the numbers have been up. It's been good to see, and pretty clean race tonight, which is cool. Well, last week was a bit of a mess, but it's good to see the series attracting a lot of new faces.
Well, you did it for Tay once more. Congratulations, Hamish. Before I let you go, the usual thing of shout out and love for all the sponsors.
Yeah, just well done to Edward and Josh. That was good fun at the end there. You boys for the broadcast, just Josh, Jason and Daniel for everything they do, and the team. It's been awesome fun this year, and let's bring on these last 2 races.
Congratulations, Hamish. Mitch Motorsport, another great race and another W next to the name, and looks like it's going to be another good season in the Xfinity cars. Hopefully tomorrow night you can get just as good fortune coming your way.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. It's a long race tomorrow night, that's for sure.
Very much so. Thank you so much, boys. We'll catch you again soon.
Thanks, Carl.
So, Stuart, another one is done and dusted. We're going to be heading off to Texas next for the Cup.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a little bit concerned about Hamish's comments there about tomorrow night being a long race, but we'll see what comes of it. Of course, as we always do, the one Dwayne's just popped in the chat and said if we don't interview Wilco, we'll write. We'll interview Wilco when he gets into a position to be interviewed, of course. But we are heading tomorrow night to Texas, 160 laps. So looking forward to that one on from 7:45. We've got the interview with Mickey Skurlock to look forward to as well. And following on from that race to continue the chase. It's getting towards the tail end, 4 rounds to go, including Texas. So don't miss that one. We'll be back tomorrow night from 7:45 for that on FGM Cast, your E-Place for Pace. Thank you to you, Carl Withy, and good evening to everyone who joined the stream. We will see you tomorrow night on the channel.